Hi, Fabiola. Nice to meet you. Thank you so much for taking time. Before we dive in, who are you and what are you working on?
Yeah, super excited to be here, Fabian. Thanks for inviting me. Yeah, I'm Fabiola. I'm one of the co-founders of Secfix. And what we do is that we automate compliance for small businesses and startups, stress-free and easy. So instead of that, they spend like 18 months to do it, they can do it in a fraction of the time and cost with us.
Nice, very cool, very cool. And basically now with respect to sales, before you started working with us, what was your biggest challenge or problem that you had with sales and growing your company, getting market share and everything related to that?
Yeah, well, basically, I think one of the biggest challenges that we faced back then was really cool that we actually found you guys. We are actually pretty much just, it's founder-led sales, so it's basically just me and my account executive that are doing sales. So obviously, at that time, we actually wanted to generate more pipeline, but we just didn't have the capacity to do it, right? Because we were doing both things at the same time, pretty much just trying to get more deals into the pipeline, but at the same time, we needed to also take care of the deals that were already in the pipeline. So it was a little bit of a struggle, I would say, in trying to find the right balance. Also, most of our pipeline or most of our deals were pretty much like inbound. You know, we kind of like focus a lot on trying to be everywhere online, and that created a lot of word of mouth, but we wanted to start creating like a really good sales motion and outbound motion so we can have a little bit more of control of the pipeline that we have. But yeah, I mean, it was, I would say, the best time to work with a partner because we didn't have the resources internally to put that in motion, and hiring a person for that obviously takes time to find. So that's why I thought, okay, I will just try to find out some solutions out there that could help me, just keep the pipeline coming and that we can focus more on the closing side.
Yeah, very, very interesting. And also, like, we noticed this a lot, especially like in your case, for example, when you have already a strong brand and an inbound motion in place, then, also cold email becomes way easier because people recognize your brand name. They have seen you maybe somewhere, or when they get the email, then they Google you and you have like good results out there. So yeah, this is like night and day also with other customers who just getting started are pretty unknown. So it's really helped us also in booking leads for you. Yeah.
Yeah, I think also super helpful, and especially like what I find really funny as well is that sometimes we're approaching them like from an outbound perspective, but they already wanted to book a meeting with us. So it was kind of like already in their mind that they wanted to book a meeting with SecFix, and then I pretty much like contacted them. They were like, "Hey, actually, like I was planning to do that in a couple of weeks, but thanks for reaching out because you made my job easier."
Yeah, the nudge, right? So really being like multi-channels everywhere, top of mind of your customers. Nice.
Exactly.
Basically, like, short question, like, why us? Like, why do you choose like Operatana, like doing exactly that, what you've described, like growing the pipeline and like, getting leads so that you can focus on closing them? Like, why us?
Well, I would say obviously because you guys are the experts in doing this, like we didn't have the know-how internally to be able to build such a good outbound strategy from scratch, and we definitely wanted to work with a partner that has all of the best practices, right? And has been able to do that with other startups as well. So you obviously know from your perspective what's happening right now in the market, like, pretty much the benchmarks that you need to achieve and so on and so forth. So that I would say was one of the main things that I saw super valuable for us. And secondly, you guys are really good at executing as well. So everything that you do, you pretty much do it super well, like completely engineered, which is really cool to see because obviously we wouldn't have the resources to actually create this kind of lead generation strategy that you guys can do. And yeah, I mean, we also looked at different solutions. Like we obviously try to consider if we should use AI tools or we should do it in a different way. Like I was like looking for a while and just trying to figure out what I wanted to do. But in the end, I think it's better when you actually like do things, first of all, learning from people that know how to do it. And then from there, even if you use AI tools, doesn't really mean that, for example, these sales tools where you personalize things with AI, normally it's not the best strategy, because in the end, you want to make sure that you can stay authentic. And that's why, having you guys there as well to be able to represent us from the company side, and doing these outreach messages and understanding how we speak, what's our tone of voice, what are the sales propositions that we have, and so on and so on. That's actually like super helpful as well, because it's definitely more humanized in that sense, and that's what a buyer is in the end looking for.
Yeah, I think you completely nailed it, right? So, like, we use a lot of AI, like, obviously, in order to scale the research and, personalize it too. But you cannot generalize it from customer to customer and just do the same personalization over and over again. You really need to understand the product and be deep into the industry and your target group, your persona, and really like fine tune the AI approach or like the personalization strategy that not just creates personalization, but actually relevancy, right? So why are you reaching out to them? And I think that's the key point. Yeah.
Yeah, and also like, I mean, if we would have tried to do it ourselves, right, we would just have tried to use some kind of like random tool, and we wouldn't have been able to, pretty much set it up in the way that you can highly create a very good, data enrichment. But with you guys, like with everything, all of the setup that you have, like it's for us pretty much very easy to understand like what's our customer, what's our ICP, like what are the things that they're normally looking for, what are the signals, and so on and so forth. And, having that access from our side that we can, pretty much lean on you for AI personalization and, all of these kind of things that you can signalize on a buyer perspective, that's actually super, super helpful for us as well.
Nice, nice. Happy to hear that. Maybe to also like prove it to all the people who are watching it, like because like it sounds nice, but how many meetings or like what results were we then actually to deliver for you?
Yeah, I mean, just to kind of like give you a little bit of insights, like when we started working with you guys, I mean, normally people say like, yeah, if you work with an agency, normally you don't see like the results if you would see if you do it internally. But to be honest, like you work as if you were like part of our team, which is really cool. And you bring like really, really good results. Like, I mean, it's been a few months that since we started, we're able to book over like 40 opportunities, which is actually really good for our current stage that we are. And a lot of them we will be able to close them, or we're about to, in the process of negotiation and so on and so forth. So it's actually really cool because I see the value right away, like I can see that there is like impact directly on the pipeline investment that I'm doing, and I'm getting actually results out of that. And most of the leads are really highly qualified, which is the best part of it, That's actually really cool.
Yeah, nice. It's important. It's a necessity, right? You cannot spend like time on a meeting with an unqualified person. So nice. Yeah, I'm very glad that it works out. And I mean, it's the benefit of like, you can calculate the ROI directly, like how much you pay us and what you get out. It's super clear and it's beautiful because you can make channels work really well. But obviously, also we have to deliver, and it's also very clear when we don't deliver on the results or the promises that we make. And also for us, it's also nice to see, okay, like there's more that we give you than we get, and this is really like the basis for good business for us too. So nice. Yeah, maybe, I mean, you're really experienced founder now, you've been through a lot, have seen a lot, maybe some advice, especially about go to market, that you would give other founders, especially maybe when looking at when you started out or similar stage. Like what would you recommend or tell them?
I think like one of the main things that I would recommend once you are starting with your go-to-market strategy, if you're in the very beginning, the most important thing is that you definitely should know your ICP really well. Like you should know who you're talking to, know who is your customer profile, who will buy from you, who are the decision makers, because that will definitely give you more insights into how people think, what are they looking for, what are their pains. And secondly, don't wait too long to set up this kind of outbound processes. I think that's something that since we were also focusing a lot in inbound, we kind of like, in the end, if you're a startup, you just try to focus on the thing that is bringing most of the results. But I would have actually liked to start a little bit earlier with outbound. I mean, I'm not saying that it's bad if you start later, but it definitely gives you a little bit more control over the pipeline that you have.
Yeah, yeah, it's true. I mean, more leads in. If you have like some sort of good copy and good approach, then you get more out, right? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice. Fabiola, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for inviting me. And yeah, hope you get, more insights into the outbound strategy soon as well.
All
And
the
you can
best
share
with
with
your startup,
others.
with Secfix. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Bye.
All right, cut.